One thing I do feel, the European Union should be paying a lot more than they're paying because now it affects them more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between, right? We're in there for $200 billion more than the European Union. I mean, what are we, stupid? I guess the answer is yes. NATO should be at 5%, not at 2%. 2% is ridiculous, you know. And Ukraine would have never happened. Never. By the way, Russia never would have gone into Ukraine. I had a very strong understanding with Putin that would have never, ever happened. He disrespected Biden. Very simple. He disrespects people. He's smart. He understands. He disrespected Biden.
Are you going to keep sending weapons to Ukraine, or are you going to turn off the tap soon?
Well, we're looking at that. We're talking to Zelensky. We're going to be talking with President Putin very soon, and we'll see how it all happens. We're going to look at it very soon. One thing I do feel, the European Union should be paying a lot more than they're paying because under Biden, I mean, we're in there for $200 billion more. Now, it affects them more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between, right? Little thing called an ocean. The European Union should equalize. We're in there for $200 billion more than the European Union. I mean, what are we, stupid? I guess the answer is yes, because they must think so. But the European Union takes advantage of us tremendously on trade, and they now take advantage of, and always have. If I didn't get involved years ago, my first term, one of the first things I noticed was that they're not paying enough. They're not paying. And a lot of those countries weren't even paying, the NATO countries. They weren't paying. Only 7 out of 28 were paying. We were one of them. And Poland was one. And they had a few of them that were paying, and some were paying very proudly. Usually, the closer to the borderline of Russia they were, the faster they paid, okay? The ones that were further away tended not to pay so fast. And one thing on that, I think they should lift their number not to 2%, but to 5%. NATO should be at 5%, not at 2%. 2% is ridiculous, yeah.
Shalom, giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to the men who are pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth in all truth and sincerity. And Yahawah willing, this lesson will be edifying, relevant unto salvation for the hopeful elect. And the title of this lesson is Revelation 17:16. America turns against NATO. Revelation 17:16. America turns against NATO. And like you saw in the intro, Donald Trump is gearing up to not only impose hefty tariffs on the European Union, but also to perhaps pull out of NATO entirely if certain demands are not met. Now, we know the prophecy in Revelation 17 that we're going to get into details the European Union breaking away from America and actually going to war against America. But I always thought that it would be an action instigated by the European Union that would sever the relationship between America and Europe. I did not anticipate that America would be the one to fire the first shot, as it were. And make no mistake, imposing tariffs on a foreign country is indeed an act of war. Okay? It's called economic warfare. And that is what usually precedes the dropping of bombs and the invasion that goes along with conventional warfare. So what we are witnessing now is the beginning phases of a fracturing happening between the United States and the European Union, or the United States and NATO. And this has been prophesied in the scripture in Revelation chapter 17. So we are going to examine these current events and line them up with the scriptures to see what time it is prophetically. This is Revelation chapter 17. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now that great whore that is referred to there is speaking about none other than Mystery Babylon, spiritual Egypt and Sodom, pursuant to Revelation 11 from verse 8 on down. Right? America the Great. She's the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. How does she sit upon many waters? Well, she has military bases in at least 80 different countries. So she has a physical presence through her military in at least 80 different countries. That's how she sits upon many waters. But she also sits upon many waters through her philosophies, through her religions, through her media influence that's permeated this whole planet. Okay? But it says, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So the kings of the earth and the rulers of the earth have given authority to the whore, America we're speaking about here, to basically have a say-so in their societies. Okay? That's how they have committed fornication with her. Through her financial influence, America has been able to control local politics in pretty much the whole world. All right? Through their media influence, they have been able to convince people to live an American lifestyle, to lust after democracy and Christianity and feminism and all these different degeneracies that have infected the planet, which the Bible calls fornication. Okay? Through their multitude of false religions, they have financed missionaries to go across the globe to push a false religion, pretending to follow the Bible, but mixing what the Bible says with ancient pagan religions. It goes on in verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, now, that woman that's sitting on the beast is America. That's why you have that Statue of Liberty, right? Lady of Liberty. Okay? Sitting on a scarlet-colored beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. That beast symbolizes the Idumean powers on the planet, or Esau Edom, okay? The European Union, all right? Those are the nations that America was born out of and gave her power, as it were. Now, it's more than 7 heads at this time because the European Union has grown. But the original heads were Greece, Rome, Spain, France, Germania Major, and Germania Minor, which is now just Germany, and Great Britain, so called, which had not been in place yet when these scriptures were written. Okay? Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. So this woman is rich and she's wearing pretty clothes, as it were, right? Decked with precious stones and gold. And this is just an indication and representation of her wealth and opulence, how much money and riches she has. Okay? Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And that name, Mystery, being on her head, indicates that most people do not understand not only who she is, but who the beast with the 7 heads and the 10 horns is. So while she remains a mystery to most, we know through the Spirit that she is America. Okay? Because at the time this was written, there was no place known as America. Babylon and Egypt and all these places had already been in the past and already been destroyed for the most part. Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahawashi. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So how is this woman drunken with the blood of the saints? Well, going back to the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, right? And America is just an extension of the Roman Empire. So she is full of the blood of the saints because guess what? Psalms 148:14 tells us who the saints are. None other than the Israelites. And who are the Israelites? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So what did America do to the southern kingdom? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. They put them in hardcore bondage, man. That's all about the transatlantic slave trade. Okay? Where these people are still, to this day, captives in America. Baruch 3:8 says we are yet this day in our captivity. What about the northern kingdom? Gad, Reuben, Issachar, and all the rest. Look at what they did to so-called Native Americans. They killed millions of them and stole their lands. That's what they always do. This is what they have always done. That's what they have a history of doing, okay? They have a heritage of oppression, like it says in Job 27:13. A heritage of oppression. This is Nahum chapter 3, the first verse. It says, Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. Yeah, death and destruction to America, the bloody city, full of lies and robbery. And the prey, the 12 tribes of Israel, departeth not. Now, a simpleton might say, well, America is not a city, it's a nation or it's a country. Well, aren't you citizens of America? Isn't there such a thing as American citizenship? So what that means, where do you think that come from? America is nothing more than a huge city, all right? A bloody city, according to the Bible and reality. Okay? Matter of fact, if you wanted to be technical at this point, America is nothing more than a corporation. All right? And with the national debt being almost $40 trillion, newborn babies come into this world owing over $100,000. Newborn babies come into this world owing a debt they can never repay. So even if you own your own home outright and own your own vehicles, right? And you have money in the bank and you don't have any debts and no credit card payments or anything like that, you still owe the rulers of this world $100,000. You see that? And even if you own your home outright, you still are just renting it because you still have to pay property taxes. So you're nothing more than a slave, man. This is Proverbs 22, verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. You see that? So, since we have established that every American citizen, just by virtue of being born and having a birth certificate, which is just paperwork where your parents sold you to the system, okay, as a slave, all right? Those are slave documents. And that document, the birth certificate, is traded on the stock market, okay? So we are still chattel slaves, man. Well, maybe not chattel, but we are still virtual slaves. And there's coming a time when we're going to be put back into chattel slavery because we can't pay these debts. That's what Jacob's trouble is all about, and the hour of temptation. Okay, but a lot of people don't even think that that's possible, and they think that that's in the past or whatever. But when you read Daniel chapter 12 and Jeremiah chapter 30, you see that there's a time of trouble coming. And Donald J. Trump seems like he would be just the one to implement it. He's signing off on a record number of executive orders, bringing in draconian measures to deal with folks. All right? Psalms 94:20 says he bringeth mischief by a law. So he's preparing all the legislation to do what he needs to do. And financial legislation is what's going to allow these people to put you back in slavery. And the corporation owners are going to have the legal right to do you whatever they want to do to you. They own you. Guess what? Because you can't pay back what you owe. They own you. So all US citizens with a US passport and a US birth certificate owe the rulers of this world, the federal international bankers, right? Over $100,000 just for being an American citizen, not counting your student loans and your credit card debt and your mortgage and your insurance and your auto payment and all of those other things, right? So those of us who fit this designation of being American citizens, we owe over $100,000 and growing to the corporation owners, none other than the rulers of this world. Okay? The people who we're not supposed to be able to speak about. Those international banking cartels that own not only the land and the resources and the infrastructure, but they own the human beings as well. Why you think the so-called Jews can do whatever the hell they want and international law don't apply to them and they could just do what they do? It's because they own this planet, man. They have put virtually every single nation on the face of this earth into debt. So when you owe somebody something that you are unable to pay, and you recognize that that person has the potential and the power to put you away, take all your assets, right? You're not going to try to speak too harshly against them. No, because your very survival is at stake. So you got to shut your mouth and put your little tail between your legs, like we see all these nations doing when it comes to that situation over there in Gaza and many other situations. Okay? So there you go. Job 9:24 says, what? The earth has been given over into the hand of the wicked. When you read Malachi, the first chapter, it tells you who the wicked are. That's why we need a savior. You understand that? Because we can't go up against them. Yahawah is who gave them power over us. On the left hand side, like it says in Psalm 17:3, or maybe verse 13. The wicked is his sword. And he's getting ready to bring a huge sword on this planet for all the wickedness that's going on. Now, the wicked themselves are going to be punished too, don't get me wrong. But before that happens, they're going to be able to slew a vast majority of all people. Okay? And that's what we've been trying to tell you. So you Old Testament only so-called Israelites, you're wasting your time, man. You might as well just be a Satanist and get some kind of reward in this world. Because if you don't believe in Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, then you can't get to the Father anyway. You think you're going to just go to the Father without an intermediary? It's not going to happen, man. 1 Timothy 2 and 5 says there's one power and one mediator. And that mediator is Yahawashi. All right? Getting back to Nahum chapter 3, speaking about the bloody city, which is America, it says, "Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." And who are the prey? We are the prey. That's why it says, "The prey departeth not." And we are yet this day in our captivity because we are not free. Okay? We owe these international banking cartels over $100,000 each. And when time comes when we can't pay it, and the hour of temptation comes on the scene, and they tell you, listen, you either have to pay this amount or you have to take this chip inside of your body. And if you take the chip, we will write off your debt, or you're going to be put to death. It's going to be a different scenario at that time, man. You check it out? Because these financial gurus are telling you, oh, you have to be debt free. You have to be debt free. You cannot be debt free whilst being a United States citizen. Okay? Because all the money for the wars that they have and to be sending over there to Israel and Ukraine and wherever else and enriching their pockets, all of that has to be paid back by you, the United States citizen. Why you think they don't have a problem printing and printing and printing and printing more money and more money and more money every minute? To the point now where not even the interest can be ever paid back. It's to put you in permanent slavery, man. And I'm just going to give a shout out to IUIC right now, who wants to insist that, oh, you have to keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. And the mark of the beast is sin, and sin is the mark of the beast. Well, listen to this commandment that you're not keeping, IUIC. This is Romans 13 and 8. It says, "Owe no man anything but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law." So what that means? It means the only thing you should be owing anybody is to love them. You shouldn't be owing them anything else. In other words, pay your debts. It's the law. This is Psalms 37:21. "The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth." So, IUIC, since you insist that in order to earn salvation, we have to keep the law, you have to pay up. And you can start with paying that hundred and something $1,000 back to the federal government that you owe each. Now, I just want to put out there that yes, we do keep the laws to the best of our ability. Okay? But ain't no way in hell we going to be able to pay these debts that we have to pay back to these people. All right? Which is part of keeping the law. And all the other commandments that we break on a daily basis. That's why we need a savior. So don't get it twisted. Salvation is a gift, like it talk about in Ephesians chapter 2 from verse 8 on down. It's not of works, lest any man should boast. And that gift is only reserved for the elect at this time. And guess what? The elect are going to make their life mission all about keeping the commandments. Not only the thou shalt nots, but also the thou shalts. Okay? Perhaps one way of absolving one's self from owing that hundred and something $1,000 to the federal government is to renounce your United States citizenship. I recently checked out the fees for renouncing my United States citizenship. And I think it's currently at $2,350 last I checked. $2,350 is looking like a bargain now. Because last time I checked, that was the amount to renounce your American citizenship. Okay? Might want to look into that. But the title of this lesson is Revelation 17. America turns against NATO. Because what we are witnessing here is Bible prophecy. Okay? Right now in real time. So anyone who says this book is not a true book is just ignorant or blinded by the Heavenly Father. Okay? Pursuant to Revelation 11 and 7, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 from verse maybe 10 on down, and other places. Back to Nahum chapter 3 now. It goes on in verse 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts, behold, I am against thee, saith Yahawah of hosts. How does she sell nations and families? Through usury. That's how. And by putting these nations in debt, by giving them loans. But it goes on. And I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And this is what's happening right now, beginning to happen. Okay? This well-favored harlot is beginning to be seen for who she truly is. That's why it says, I will discover thy skirts upon thy face and show the nations thy nakedness and the kingdoms thy shame. Continuing in verse 6, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee and make thee vile and will set thee as a gazing stock. You see that? So that's what's happening, man. Woe to this bloody city. She will be destroyed. She will never be great again. Okay? This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 2. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And that's what we see in America. The rulership of America, the kings and the governors and the presidents and all the rulers and leaders are wicked as hell. And the normal people, the normal everyday people, they are wicked as hell too. Now this is verse 8. Maybe I'll get verse 7. It says, pride is hateful before Yahawah and man, and by both doth one commit iniquity. And there's no place that has more pride than America. Okay? Verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And that's what we're looking forward to, for the kingdom to be translated to earth's rightful rulers, starting with Yahawashi and the 144,000 governors, okay? Not to leave out the 12 apostles and King David sitting upon the throne, all right? That's why America has to go down. Perhaps we should get Daniel 7:18 to just precept upon precept. It says, but the saints of the Most High, and the saints of the Most High are the elect of the nation of Israel, pursuant to Psalms 148:14, which says that the children of Israel are the saints. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So that's what's getting ready to happen, man. Once America goes down, the next thing to happen is for Yahawashi to be on his way, because Revelation 18 is where America goes down, and Revelation 19 is when Yahawashi returns. Okay? But getting back to Revelation now, 17, and I'm just going to skip down to verse 16. We already know that the 10 horns on the beast represents the European Union, and the great whore or the woman represents America. Okay? Verse 16. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For Yahawah hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahawah shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth." So the European Union is going to separate from America and go to war against America. So the great whore of Mystery Babylon, America, is going to be left standing on her own. All of her allies are going to separate themselves from her. That's why Revelation 18 says, "Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. Come out of her, my people." If we had told the Hispanics from Central and South America who were rushing up to America, "Don't go," which we did tell some of them, but they didn't listen, they wouldn't believe what they see happening now. You understand? And Yahawah willing, I bring out a lesson on that, but all the repercussions that's going to come as a result of Donald Trump expelling these low income workers who do all of those jobs that have to do with sanitation and food processing is going to just cause a huge spike in prices, but I don't want to digress again. The title of this lesson is Revelation 17, America turns against Nato, and every American owes $100,000 to the beast. I'll probably make that the title instead. So come out of that place, man. Whatever level of coming out you can come out. You're going to have to come out spiritually and mentally at the very least. Okay? Because when Yahawashi comes to destroy that place, it's going to already be destroyed. Matter of fact, let's get that. This is Luke 12:49. "I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it already be kindled?" You see, so fire is coming on Mystery Babylon, okay? In no short order. And if you don't separate yourself from her, you are going to be destroyed with that fire. And that's really the gist of what I'm trying to get to here in this lesson. Don't go down to Egypt for help. Like it talk about in Isaiah the 30th chapter. It says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahawah, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion." You see that? So it's time to just mentally prepare to separate yourselves from this world, man. Like that movie, Leave the World Behind. Because if you don't leave it behind, you're going to be destroyed along with it. This society is finished. Can't you see that? And like we've said in many other lessons, you cannot wait until the last minute to decide you're going to leave the world behind and trust in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Let me see if I can give an analogy. Let's say you live in LA County, California, and they issue a evacuation alert for your area. But instead of leaving immediately like you're being told to do, you want to wait and see how bad things are going to get before you do anything, right? Just like most of the so-called people who have this truth, which we call wait and see Israelites. are doing. Not to mention all the other people who don't have this truth, who don't know what to do, or even what is coming. But if you listen to this lesson, then you probably know the truth, at least some of it, and you know what time it is and what needs to be done. But you're getting the warning like if you were in LA County and you're being told to evacuate, and instead of evacuating immediately, you are dilly-dallying and payasing and lollygagging and just waiting to see how bad it is so that you could just hold on to your house or whatever the case may be. Try to pack up as much things as you can pack up, and by the time you turn around, it's a few hours after when you were supposed to leave. So you jump in your car, you and your wife and your children, and you start to try to drive down the road, but you find that there's a big power line or something in your way, and it prevents you from leaving. So now all the things that you wanted to carry in your car, you have to leave them behind also and get out on foot. And now you're trying to run past the tree, but you can't get past it. And so you end up taking a detour and end up being lost in the smoke. And next thing you know, you're burnt to death. There's a time for everything under the sun, pursuant to Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. And right now, the time is to put your faith and your trust in the Most High and forget about this world. Okay? Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High, and all these things shall be added unto you." 1 John 2:15 says, "Love not the world." Matthew 6:24 says, "A man cannot serve two masters." Joshua 24:15 says, "Choose ye this day whom you will serve." As for me and my house, we're going to serve Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. So I don't want to make this much longer. Giving our praises, glory, and honor to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honor to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Salutations to my fellow laborers pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth in all sincerity. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.